Hello YouTube, what is up? Connor Brooks here with another video for you. I know it's been a little while since I have done a video. That's just because I have not really had anything to show on the layout or review. But now I do have something to show you guys. This is a locomotive that I got in February of 2020 and immediately sent it off to DCC Train LLC to get DCC and sound added to this locomotive. And that is the Atlas Classic RF&P GP-7. This is the road number 102. From the research I've done, this train came out in 2007, I believe. And they included the RF&P paint scheme and road number. I do know that Proto 2000 did some RF&P GP7s, but they were not in the paint scheme that the Atlas one is in, and I like this one better, to be completely honest. And I just want to put it out there, and we will talk about it a little later. This is not the complete finished product of this locomotive. I want to change the horns and some sounds on it, but let's go ahead and get into the unboxing, just in case you end up finding one of these for yourself. So this is the Atlas Classic box. Nothing special. Obviously different than the Atlas, I believe it's Master Railroad series, which is their version of with sound. I'm not completely sure about that, but I was pretty happy when I found that this locomotive actually still came with the original diagrams and paperwork, so we can take a look at that, maybe, if I can open it up. There we go. Yeah. So as you can see, this was actually a pretty simple locomotive. There's nothing much to it, and we will talk about it. This is a pretty heavy locomotive, so Atlas did a really good job there. There is the board that originally was in the train, and here it is over here. He took it out, replaced it with a Lock Sound version 5 sound decoder. And it actually sounds really awesome, so I can't wait for you to hear that. So this is what is in the box. This is all the protective gear. I do know that the gray was from the factory. I'm thinking that the other parts were from the previous owner, who interestingly lived really close to me and in Richmond, which I thought was pretty cool. So yeah, that about does it for unboxing. Nothing special there. Like I said, this is from 2007, but I mentioned that for a very important reason, because even though this was from 2007, I mean, we're talking, what is 2021 now? Let's not do basic math. It's over 10 years old, and the detail on this locomotive is actually really awesome. Like, Atlas did a phenomenal job. So let's go ahead and head over to the layout. Now, I actually have this in a different area, as you can see. Normally I would be sitting in that chair and we would be reviewing it facing that way, but because of the front horn placement on this locomotive, I opted to do this way, just because if it was facing that way, we would not be able to look at the front horn. I'm sure that doesn't really matter, but I would just rather look at the horn, because we're going to be talking about the horn. Also, I have been running it on the inner loop, which is why I'm just used to it looking at this way. Anyway, this is the locomotive in all her pride and glory, I have to say that. And like I said, this is a beautiful locomotive, GP-7 high hood locomotive. The only high hoods that RF&P had, which I'm actually really excited about. So of course we have RF&P 126 over there. That's a low hood. That's also an Atlas, but a newer Atlas. But I was so excited to find this one on eBay. It was actually not too expensive, and it's just absolutely beautiful. There's a lot of detail on it. There are some things, obviously, that I'm not going to know the names of, but there are things I'm going to point out, like this up here at the top here. I don't know what that is, but like Atlas has that there, and it's really cool. Looking at prototypical pictures or prototype pictures of this locomotive, Atlas did a really good job. So one of the things that we're going to be changing to this locomotive is the horns, because RF&P did not have single chime horns. And speaking of the horns, there is the reverse horn right there. I wouldn't say reverse horn, just reverse facing horn, so that when the locomotive is reverse, the sound of the horn is not only going forward. So we're going to be replacing these single chime horns with a 3-chime horn. From pictures I found, that was there, and I want to say the 60s, because by the time the RF&P merged with CSX and these locomotives were retired, the horns were upgraded to 5-chime horns. But from the sounds that I have gone through on this decoder, it doesn't sound like there are any 5-chime horns to choose from, so we're just going to go ahead with the 3-chime. And the horn that I've chosen, I don't even know it's a 3-chime. Don't know if it's a 3-chime. It just sounds really nice. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into the details. So, of course, as you can see here, there's actually a lot of rivet details, fan details, certain things of that nature. The handrails. These handrails are actually, they're pretty thin. I believe on 126, they thicken their handrails a little bit. I feel like some people may have complained just because they're pretty thin, like I said, but they're very intricate. Like, these are like, honestly, I would argue that this locomotive is a little more detailed than 126 over there, and I don't know if that's just because of the difference between the GP-7 and the GP-40, but I would argue that it is a little bit more detailed. Of course, we have treaded walkways, RF&P, and then, of course, the back of the locomotive, the rear of the locomotive, is almost the same as the front, minus the fact that there is a cab. Here is the truck detail. Hopefully, we can get a good look at that. This is actually pretty cool. The whole safety first, always. That's actually a really cool detail. Some locomotive manufacturers might not be adding that, but Atlas did one step further. Separately applied grab irons and things of that nature to get to the roof. Speaking of the roof, there are the fans. This is a non-dynamic brake locomotive because RF&P did not use dynamic brakes. Nothing special with the fans and grills, but it's for 2007. Like I said, this is like a very nice looking locomotive. Also, the couplers were changed from the Atlas coupler to KD couplers. I was actually really happy about that. I'm not the biggest fan of Atlas couplers, and it's nothing against Atlas. I'm just not a fan, to say it nicely. Also, one little note that I noticed immediately when unboxing this locomotive was how the handrail goes into, or the front handrail here goes into the step. Obviously, that is not how that was in real life, but I feel like in 2007, they didn't really know how else to do that. It has changed on the newer ones, obviously, but I just thought that was really cool to see something that, was before they created a way to make it look more realistic, but they were able to do it with everything else. There's not really any need to look at the other side because the other side is pretty much the exact same as this side. Thank you EMD for that. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get into the sounds. Which I already have this set up to 102. So let's go ahead and hit F8. Sadly, on a personal level, I think this locomotive is a little quiet with the prime mover. I want to try to get that fixed. If anyone knows how to adjust the prime mover volume, let me know in the comments. But the other sounds are actually really nice. Let's go ahead and do the headlight. He actually replaced the headlight from the original to LEDs, so he did that free of charge, and so that was actually really nice of Alex at DCC Train. So I did change the bell from the default. The horn itself is the default one time, but I did change the bell because I did not like it. It sounded too electronic, and I don't know, I just didn't like it. So this is the only one that I found that I actually really liked. It's kind of at a fast pace, but I feel like from some GP-7s that I've heard on scenic railroads, which brings up a good point. RF&P 101 still technically exists with the Buckingham branch. It just did its last run with the Autumn Leaf, or I guess it was the James River Rambler at that point, which is the scenic railroad put on by the Buckingham branch in the Old Dominion chapter of the National Railroad Historical Society, which I am a member of, which is actually pretty cool. So yeah, let's go ahead. Right on into the sounds. Whoops, let's use grammar there. Right into the sounds. There we go. Alrighty, so like I was saying, F1 is the bell. A little fast-paced, but I actually kind of like this. F2, which is horn. Again, this is the default horn, the one chime. F3, which is coupler clank. Which is actually kind of nice about this locomotive. Every other ESU locomotive that I've had, just going to get the quick start guide to make sure I'm saying the sounds right. I've had to like move the locomotive, so it was really nice to not have to do that. So let's see. F4 is dynamic brake. This locomotive is not actually equipped with dynamic brake. F7 is like flange squeal, it says. F8, of course, is sound off. F9 is drive hold. The rest of these are just like sounds. Really, 1, 2, and 3 are the only ones we have to worry about. So let's go ahead and move the locomotive. Alright, obviously we're going to give 2 blasts to the horn. F, speed step 1, not F. Two. 3, 4, and 5. I'm only going up to 5 because this is how fast I actually run this locomotive on my layout, but also because there's a train there, so let's stop it. Sometimes there's some brake squeal, so we'll see if we can get that in reverse. So we'll go ahead and go up to speed step 8. Nine, 10, and then we'll stop it. Ah, there was our brake squeal. Let's go ahead and bring her back. We'll do a grade crossing sequence. So yeah, that does that for sounds and moving. Now I just want to go over, I will do a video with the update, but just so you guys can see, I just want to show you what I have selected as the horn, so we'll go over that. So obviously CV, and it's 163, and then I have selected the second horn. This is locomotive 102. I actually really like that whole thing over there, especially the short horn. I just think it sounds really nice. But I feel weird having that horn when there's only one chime, so of course we will get that fixed up when we add the new horn. So that is going to go ahead and do it for this review. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I'm glad to be back. I hope you guys are glad that I'm back. This has just been, it's been fun recording this for you guys. I hope you enjoy what we're doing here on the channel, and look forward to seeing you in the next video, and thank you for watching. Leave a comment down below, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Have a good day. Bye-bye.